Just the impact, the death toll. They've been saying the damage is so enormous that it will take us much time to gather the information. And just to tell you, search and rescue teams from the UK, International Rescue and Rapid UK, are on stand. Services to the Japanese. They're waiting to hear back from the authorities. Each team apparently has about 15 people and are ready to go on the next flight to Japan if they're required. Let's head to Tokyo. Roland Burke, our correspondent there. And Roland, it is evening there now, but is it fair to say that we're still at the stage there where they are taking in the sheer scale of this?
Yes, I think that's very much the case. Not only here in Tokyo, but also up in the north of the country, where those tsunamis hit, and the assessment is just beginning of the damage there. The current number of deaths that they're talking about here in Japan is 32. Though it is just a few hours after the earthquake struck, so that might rise. I can tell you on the streets of Tokyo, there are enormous crowds of people. I've never seen anything like it in this city. The roads are completely clogged up with traffic. Millions of people are walking home, trying to walk home, because the railway lines in the city have been shut down. The expressways that crisscross this city at rooftop height, the great motorways through Tokyo, they are shut down as well. So people are trying to walk back home. It's dark here in Tokyo now, and it's pretty cold as well.
I'm sure they're also aware and frightened about aftershocks. Just at a human level, Roland, you were there when the quake struck. Just give us an impression of what it was like.
I was walking on the street, actually, and at first I thought I was having some sort of funny turn. I felt like I was about to faint and my legs went wobbly. Then I realised it wasn't me, it was the ground. And it really rolled. It was, you know, we have a lot of tremors here, and sometimes they're slightly jerky, but this one was rolling. It was like standing on the deck of a ship at sea. And people were hugging the walls and looking very shocked, trying to make sure they didn't fall over. I think the most frightening thing, though, was hearing the creaking and the cracking from the skyscrapers above as they swayed. Now, everything stayed up in Tokyo, so they did their job, but that was very alarming. And then afterwards, within a matter of minutes, thousands of people came out of the office buildings, down onto the street, looking at their mobile phones, watching TV on their cell phones, and talking about what had happened and looking very shocked.
The Prime Minister was quick to go on to television. Just give us an idea of how the authorities have responded. Well,
he did respond pretty quickly. He went on television. He called on the Japanese people to remain vigilant and cautious, but also to remain calm. Certainly in Tokyo, it is extremely orderly. People are queuing up in enormous long lines for buses that are still running or waiting for taxis. Everything is still going as it should do. People are even waiting at pedestrian crossings for the green man to come before they cross the road. So it's pretty orderly here. But I think the challenge for the government is not going to be Tokyo, it's going to be the north. It's going to be where those tsunamis hit.
Let's talk about the tsunami, because we saw those pictures. I mean, it's frightening, just the destructive power of the water 30 feet high.
Yes, quite extraordinary, the way the water, the mud and black, full of debris, engulfing fields and greenhouses and sweeping along houses with it as well, and cars, and the water coming into the harbours as well. An immense destructive force there. Now, Japan is pretty prepared for seismic events. This is a country that has many earthquakes, so not only the buildings built to withstand it, but also large areas of the coastline have been concreted. They have barriers to stop high tides and things. But the sheer power of a tsunami, when it's that high, nothing can stop that.
Exactly on that point, they have designed their infrastructure to withstand earthquakes. It was very interesting to see things like the bullet train, the nuclear power plants automatically shut down once they're...
Some warning. So the systems are in place in Japan, that if an earthquake happens, the bullet train is automatically shut down. 5 nuclear power plants were shut down, we were told, by the Prime Minister. And also trains in Tokyo are equipped as well to stop. And even in all the buildings, the lifts stopped and were very quickly evacuated. So people here are prepared. But I can tell you this, when you live in a city like Tokyo, you're waiting for the big one. People here have been waiting for it for years, but nothing prepares you for the moment it actually hits, when the ground starts moving and shifting underneath your feet. It really is quite an alarming feeling when that happens.
Roland, just in the last few minutes out of the White House, Barack Obama offering his condolences to the people of Japan and saying his country stood ready to help them after this massive earthquake and tsunami. And we were just giving our viewers information about rescue teams in this country also offering their support. Will Japan need outside assistance, do you think?
I would. It's very early hours after this earthquake. Japan is well prepared for these earthquakes and does have teams that it sends itself to other countries' natural disasters. It sent a team to Christchurch, for example, for the earthquake in New Zealand recently. I would be surprised if they asked for help from anybody else, but it is very early days, and the assessment of the damage is right at the start. It's going to take them a long time, say the authorities, to find out how extensive the damage is. So I suppose it is possible that they might decide they do need some help in the days ahead.
OK, for now, Roland, thanks very much. Roland Burke there in Tokyo.
Well, this super earthquake, as it's been called, struck just after 2:45 in the afternoon, local time, of course, during the working day. Well, Etsuko Ueda is in an office building near Tokyo Station, and she was at work when the earthquake struck. We can speak to her now on the phone. Etsuko, you work in a high-rise building. What were the effects there?
I'm in the 29th floor office building, and around 3 o'clock we had the biggest earthquake we've ever had, and the building was swayed many times, and the ceiling were damaged, and fires and scattered.